All right, so I'm going to share my screen right now. Please confirm once you can see my screen. I will be sharing my entire screen. Please confirm once you can see my screen. So in today's class, essentially what we want to do is to walk through the final project which we intend to build in this bootcamp. So that is the first thing we want to do. We want to walk through the final project. The second thing is to guide you through one example. For instance, one example of how you can convert a design into code using HTML and CSS. Then after that, I'm going to give you all the screens we have in this project so that you can go home and design them. So this project is a job portal, let's put it that way. Yeah, so you can come on this app. Don't be surprised when I say application. I mentioned the difference between a website and an application. A website is a web page without any data coming from anywhere. You understand? It's just a static. Let's say static. But an application is a kind of website that is linked or that is connected to a backend. When I say backend, I mean data source, where the data is coming from. For instance, now on this website, you can't just log in. You can't just register. The information you are submitting when logging in, registering, resetting your password, all those information is going somewhere. And all this information we have here, they are coming from somewhere. So now let's get started. First off, on the home page, you can search for a particular job. Search by title, company, description, skills, and location. For instance, let's say I want to search by backend developer. So I'm going to copy this job title. I'm going to search it. Let's say you click on search or enter. It's now showing only the jobs that contain backend developer or so. So that is that on the search. And also, if you notice, the results are paginated. Paginated, that is pagination, which means you can go to the next page. You keep going to the next page until you reach the final page. So that is about pagination, which means the results are paginated. So I can decide to log in. So let me log in. So I can log in because before this session, I've already created an account. So I'm going to use an email. Let's say alabarais@gmail.com and my password 12345. So as you can see now, it shows a message. You are now logged in. So now once you have logged in into the application, as you can see now, we have different buttons. So you can create an advert, which means you can create a job application. So when you create an advert, when you create a job application, you will be able to see your own advert here as well. You can also view your jobs. You can see my jobs. Let's click on my jobs. My jobs are just the jobs you posted on this platform, which means they are the jobs you created on this platform. As you can see, we have the title, the company name, the date posted, the deadline, is it open or closed based on the deadline, the total applicants. You can view all the applicants. You can view the job, edit the job, delete a job. But before that, let's create a job. So this is a job. So let's say, for instance, test. We are going to say test job, test developer. Let's call it test developer. Test developer. Let's say the company name is, let's say, is Google. The job type, let's say, is part time. The entry experience level is senior. The job type is remote. We can also, let's leave out the location since it is optional. Let's pick a deadline. Let's say 30th. Description. So let's just copy something. Let's copy some text here. So now let's put the skills. Let's say HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's published. Now let's create the advert. So as you can see now, it shows a message, advert created. You can now receive applications. So the message has gone. So now, see, this is just the application or the job advert we created. The name, all those information, the location, skills, the description, the date posted, the deadline. So now, this is a job. This is how you can create a job. right? So now now let's go back to the home page, for instance, the home page. So on the home page, you can click on an advert. So when you click on an advert, you can see more information about the application. So you see more information about the application. Then on that page, you can apply for the jobs. You can apply for this job. So now when you want to apply for a job, you don't actually need to log in. For instance, let's say I log out. As you can see now, I'm logged out. Now let me click on view details, which means you don't need to be logged in to be able to submit your application, right? So we want to remove that stress from the users. So now let's say I want to apply for this job. Let's say let me use my name. Let me use any name. Let's say any name. Let's say Dev Eng. Just writing any name. Dev Engineer. So now let me use email. Let me use this email. Let's say 1 2 3. So now your portfolio link. We can copy any link here. Let's copy this link. So now the CV you want to apply. You want to choose a file. So now let's submit the application. So it says application submitted successfully. Something interesting is here, which means we're also doing some validations. We don't allow a user to submit twice or thrice. You can only submit once. For instance, now I think I don't know the exact email I use for application actually. So I think the email is around. Anyways, let's try it with this email. Let's try another one. King. Let's try to use this portfolio. Now let's choose a file. So now let's submit the application. Okay, so we use intent. Now let's use this intent again. King. The portfolio is this link. The screenshot. Now, so as you can see now, you have already applied for this position. The validation we are doing is that we are checking the email. If you have already applied for a particular email before, we don't allow you to apply for the same job. So that's on the, so now let me log in into the application again. alabarais@gmail.com. 1 2 3 4 5. Yeah, so I'm logged in. So now, which means when you come to this page, you will be able to see all the jobs you've posted. For instance, now this is the job we created. There's test developer, Google as a name. So when it was created, 2 p.m. I think this time is one hour behind. So it's 1 hour behind. So now the job is open. So now, as you can see, we can see the total applicants for this. We can view all the applicants. We can view the job. Let's say if you click on the view jobs, it takes all to the detailed page of the job. So you can edit a job, delete a job. So now, first thing first, let's try to edit the job. So yeah, let's edit this job. Let's say 2. Now let's update it. So my jobs again. As you can see now, the job title has been updated. So essentially, what we've used for this is what we are using here is HTML table. Some of you might have come across this before, HTML tables. So now that's just an hint. That's just an hint for you in case you are wondering how are we able to do this. So next step is if we can edit a job, we can also delete a job. Let's say we delete this job. I don't want to delete this job. Let me delete a job which doesn't have any application. So let's delete the job. Advert deleted successfully. So now next step is this. We want to view all applicants. View applicants. So when you view all applicants, you will be able to see all the applicants, all the people that have applied for this job. So you can view their portfolio, download CV. You can know their application status. You can view the adverts. You can also make a decision on the job. For instance, now you can see the status is applied. You can decide on the application. Do you want to reject the person, rejected, or interview? Let's say I reject the person. So reject, then I click on decide. When you click on decide, if you notice, this reject this reject button is now disabled. You see, I can't I can no longer click on it again. I can no longer click on it again because the status is rejected, which means you have decided on the job. So that's that about viewing applicants. And one interesting thing is that once an application is rejected, we send an email to the applicants. So we send an email to the applicants that your job, sorry, we are not able to move forward with your application. Actually, this is the email we send to the person. Dear dev engineer, probably this is the name of the person. Thank you for applying for this test developer position. It's just a rejection email to an applicant. So though this is meant to be an actual email, but because we are not seeing an actual email yet, because I haven't done that part of the application, right? So now let's move on. So now once you are able to reject an application, the next thing now is so this is how we see all our jobs, which is all the jobs we've posted. Then my applications. You see, these applications are all your applications, which means all the jobs I have applied for. For instance, these are all the jobs I have applied for. You see, status. It's also showing me it is also showing me the total applicants for that specific job. So these are the applicants for the job. So next, I think that is it as far as this project is concerned. But I think, so now I can log out. Maybe what we can do is to register. We can register as well. Let's say I want to use an email. Let me use sample@gmail.com. This is just a sample email. And I want to use a password. I want to create an account. 1 2 3 4 5. Let's create an account. It says verification code sent to this guy, sample@gmail.com. So which means a verification code has been sent to my email. So what I want to do now is, like I said to you, we are not sending actual emails yet, right? So but if I check my screen, I will be able to see the message that is meant to be sent to the person. Can you see? It says, hi there, use this code to verify your account. So I'm going to copy this code. Let's copy it. I have copied the code. Next, I'm going to paste the code into this box. But let's do one thing. Let's add some numbers. Let's see what happens if we try to verify with that code. So it says invalid or expired verification code. So that was intentional. We put a code which is incorrect. So now let's verify. Great. So that's how we are able to verify. I can say I can't verify. You are now logged in. So of course this is a new account. I don't think I should have any job. Of course I don't have any job. I don't have any applications. So I think that's it. The last thing here now is probably resetting of password. You forgot your password. So I think this email we used was sample@gmail.com. Sample@gmail.com. Let's use an invalid email. When I say invalid email, I mean an email that is not registered. Let's click on it. It says email not found. Now let's use the correct email, which is sample@gmail.com. So it says reset link sent to your email. So a reset link. So this is the link that is, you say hi there. Use this link to verify. Use this link to probably to set your password. This content is wrong. I think we are good as far as this project showcase is we are good. Now the next thing the next thing I want to do now is, as far as the project showcase is good, we are good. As far as the project showcase is concerned, we are good. The next thing now is let's now what we are going to do now. I'm going to show you all the screens we are going to build, right? So now, which means the first screens we want to build, I will probably suggest that we start with this screen. So what I've done is I have created screenshots for all the screens we are going to use. So for all the screens we are going to design in this project, I have created screenshots for them. So of course, I have converted this screen to code. You are seeing code right now, but I'm not going to show you the code yet. So as an assignment, I want you to be able to, take home all these screens. So this is the login screen. This is the register screen. This is the forgot password screen. All those links, all those screens. For instance, now this is the home page screens. How do you convert this? This is a design. So yeah, how do you convert this using HTML and CSS? This is a screen. This is let's say I log in now. Let's take a look at all the screens. We have the alabarais at gmail.com 1 2 3 4 5. I'm logged in now. So now when you create an advert, this is a form. Of course, this is a screen. How do you convert this kind of screen? Now, my jobs, this is a screen. This is HTML tables. So we are going to convert these screens as well, my applications and so on. So now, in short, let me give you the screens we are going to convert. So I'm going to share the screenshots with you, GitHub with Ware, and I think anyway it should be one of the latest repositories. So Django Recruit Portal. This is so now these are all the screens. This is the home page. So what I need you to do now is this. You see all the screens that I've shown to you in this walkthrough. You are going to work on them. But before you work on them, I'm going to show you an example so you have an idea. You don't feel challenged. So you don't feel scared rather. So now this is the home page. This is the detail page. This is the login page. This is the reset password page, which means you are just going to be looking at these screens and figuring out how you can convert it into actual code or into actual HTML page using HTML and CSS. This is my jobs. This is my applications. And reset password. Reset password is similar to this login page. So I think we are good. By now, we know what we want to achieve. So let me just give you a walkthrough. Let me show you an example. For instance, now, remember, everything we've been seeing so far, everything we've seen so far, they are nothing but HTML and CSS. But let me give you some tips. Log out. So log in. So whenever you want to convert a screen, right? First of all, the first thing you need to know is to be able to identify and sections your page, right? I think I should use the home page to explain. So now, if you take a look at this home page, based on what you are looking at now, this is what you have here. Everything you have from this page, from this side to this side is a section. Remember, I told you that the first thing you need to be able to convert a screen for you to be able to convert a design, let's say a design, to code using HTML and CSS is for you to be able to identify the sections. If you take a look, everything we have from here to here is a section, right? This is probably a particular section. Inside this section, this is another section. Everything you are seeing here, all these job posts, is a section. So by the time you are viewing your web page like that, that is how you know that it will not become complex for you to design. So it means we just have to do it one by one. For instance, now, in fact, if you want to work on this page, the first thing you need to know is that how do I design this what's the name, this section alone? So which means you might probably want to use HTML tag sections. You now need to use a particular tag here, whether it's H3, H4, a smaller tag. Then you now need to know, this section that I have created, how can I make the background image to be this? I'm just giving it looks like I'm giving you the answer already, or I'm giving you the tips. How can I make the background image to be something? You understand the point? How can I raise? Essentially, all you need to know is, like I mentioned, first of all, know the HTML tags. Then next, you know what the function of CSS. CSS, for instance, what you have here is they are buttons. How do you style the buttons to look like this? You probably need something like border, padding, all those kind of stuff. So now that is on that. Now this is another section. How can you style this section? This is input box. This is input box side by side, and this is a what? This is a search button. How can you do that? You know that one is taken out. Now the next step is, how can you design this? How can you also make it responsive? Okay, if you don't know, the meaning of responsive is a responsive design is a design which looks good both on mobile and desktop. There are some websites that if you visit them on a laptop, they will look good, they will look okay, but immediately you visit them on your mobile app using your browser, let's say Chrome or Firefox or so, any browser. There are many browsers on the mobile app as well. Those websites, they don't look good on mobile. Those kind of websites, they call them that, they say they are is it irresponsive, or they are not responsive? Yeah. So in short, that's what we call responsiveness, which means a site which looks good on different device type. For instance, now see this website now, as you can see now, this login page is positioned well on mobile, only for this page which is not positioned well. The job adverts, to some extent, they also look good on the mobile screens. So now essentially the secret for this, if you want to be able to achieve this, is what I told you about. I told you about grid flex. So you see this. So you need to be measuring the there's something we call media query, which means you're using different styles based on the size of the media, on the size of the device. So I think that's that. So now I think aside that, we have this login page. This is also like a container. So I think that is enough, so that I'm not giving you the answers. So when you see a page like this, first of all, you need to know, how can I center my content? Okay, so before we even get to CSS, first of all, try to visualize all what you have here. This is probably a paragraph. This is a label for input. This input. This another input. This is a button. This is a link, a tag for link. This is a link. So once you've written out all the HTML, then if you need to section a particular part of them, probably this page, you need to put it in a section, in a container. And that container, you now need to say, okay, this container, it must be centered, right? It must be centered. So that's why we have all these like justify, content center, flex, and the likes. So that's that. Then I think so that's all for as far as the home page is concerned. Let's see if I can explain anything on the dashboard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so let's go to the dashboard, my jobs. So basically they are the same. So all we have here is the same as what we have on the home page. So the only difference is this page. The only difference is this title. Sorry, is this table rather. This table, you just need to know about tables. The same thing for my applications. You need to know about tables. So yeah, so now I think that's all. So I just want to show you a quick example of how the login page can be designed, so I don't leave you without any guide. So now let's go there. So now see, this is, for instance, now if you take a look at this now, see, this is, if you notice, anyway, let's walk through this page. Sorry, this code. So now let me so now if you notice now, is oh my god, I'm already showing the screen. No, I think I should not show this, but essentially what I want to show you is this. If you notice that we put the whole content of this page in a div. This is a div. It's not necessary you call it div, but most times you can, like I told you, you can use div or section to group things together. You are just saying that, okay, this particular section or this particular part of the page, I want to group them together. So can you now see that we are using class? It's not that class you are now going to be styling. Now say class alt content. Now say, okay, my content, this is the style I want to give to it. You understand? Then now need to say, okay, this style I want to put it in a container. Because when you put it in a container, you can easily say, okay, that container, it should have the border should be like this, the border radius should be like this, all those kind of stuffs. You can, yes, so I think that's all. I don't want to reviewing the code to you. So essentially the CSS, because I'm still going to record this, I'm still going to share a record of this section, so you don't start looking at the styles. So yeah, so this is style actually. You understand? But this is just basics. But so that's it. So anyways, I think that's that as far as the project is concerned. And if anyone has a question, I would like to attend to those questions. I think we still have some more minutes, so I will be able to attend to your questions as much as I can. So first question is coming from Sylvester. Please move on with your question.
Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, good afternoon. I can hear you clearly.
You made mention of making a website responsive. I didn't get that part when you were explaining it. How do we make it responsive?
Okay. First of all, do you know the meaning of responsiveness of website?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so now let's go. Let me quickly explain. So responsiveness means that a responsive website is a website that looks good on different devices, whether it is mobile app, it is a desktop, it is tabs and the likes, tablets and the likes. So now, if you want to make a website responsive, what we mainly use, one of the things we mainly use is what we use grid, flex, and media query. Remember, I told you earlier that those are the things you should learn if you want to be able to build a responsive website. You need to know how flex works. How flex, you can be writing this down: flex, grid, and media query. Essentially, with media query, you're just saying, okay, with media query, what you can do with media query is that you can say that if the size of the device is this, what design, what CSS style should be used. If it is like this, if it is like this, if it is like this, if it is like this. So that way, as you are moving the screen, the CSS is using the right style. You understand what I mean, right? So they use what is called media query. You can research more about this. Media query, flex, and grid. Believe me, if you can understand those three stuffs, if you can understand those three stuffs I've mentioned, if you can look at any website like this, and you'll be able to convert them easily. Because you see all this one button, you can easily know how to give a button a style. Can you see on Hover? These are just basic things. If you hover, how do you by the time you are building it, for instance, I think those are some of the things you should note. If you take a look now at this, when I hover my cursor over the screen, over the button rather, it changes color. So those are some of the things you might encounter whenever you are building. So when you hover, it changes color and the likes. So that's it. Please, have I answered your question?
Yes. You've answered the question.
Yeah,
Thank
great.
you.
So you need to read all those three stuffs I mentioned: flex, grid, and what else? Flex, grid, and media query. But I should mention to you that this website that we are looking at, all what we are able to see, I told you that we have two parts. We have the front end and we have the back end. Everything you are seeing on this screen is powered by the front end, which means front end simply means what the user sees when they visit the website. What the user sees when they visit the website. So that is what is known as front end development. But we are able to log in on this website. That's why this website is no longer a website. So it's a website, but it is a web application because we have a data source connected to it. You can't just log in. When we log in, when we register, this information is going somewhere. is stored somewhere. How does the system knows that we have registered? How does it know? How does the system know that we have the right credentials or we have the wrong password? So that is where the backend comes in place. The backend is where the data are coming from. They are where the data are stored, So for instance now, all these jobs we are looking at now, they are coming from the backend. Test to developer. Imagine if I try to delete this job now, you will no longer see it here. Let's say for instance, unfortunately I don't know the password I used to create this job, but I'm going to do one thing. So let's say I log in now. I put in my email, gmail.com. Actually, I can easily do that. So now I'm logging. I'm seeing my jobs. So now you see this one I opened, right? Oh, great. You see this test to developer is actually created by this user. So I want to delete this guy. Advert deleted successfully. Now let's go back to the home page. Let's say I go back to my home page. We are meant to have a button somewhere that takes us to the home page. So that's some of the improvement we should have on this design. So you see now that Web 2 developer, or the name Test 2 developer or Test developer 2 is no longer here. So that is the work of the backend. The backend is just where the data are where the data are stored, which means the database. You have to be dealing with the database. But for now, like I said to you, we are doing front end for now. But honestly, all you need to know for you to be able to build all what we have here is just HTML and CSS. Believe me, everything you have here is powered by HTML and CSS. With HTML alone, with HTML and CSS, you are good. You understand? The rest is just powered by the backend, which is built on Python, right? So Python is another language entirely different from HTML and CSS. Actually, they don't call HTML and CSS Java. They don't call them language. They don't call them programming language. You understand? So the actual programming language, an actual programming language is like Python. You understand? So that's it. So don't be surprised that where are these data coming from? Yeah. They are coming from a data source, which is the backend. Yeah. Do you understand what I just explained? Okay, so now, is there any other question? And again, okay, great. So, if you still have any question, please signify. What I'm going to do now is to share with you all the screenshots, which means the images. I'm going to share with you all this. You can't actually access this repository because it is private, so it's not public. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to share a link, or I might have to send it on WhatsApp. I'm going to send all these images. So what you are going to do now is look at this image, the login, try to replicate them, try to convert them to HTML, CSS to make a web page, right? So that's it. Please, if you have any questions, signify. Otherwise, we are going to call this class. Before your question, please, once you have all the assets, they call them assets. The designs, they call them assets. So once you have all the assets, I think you will need to start working. Right. So from Diana, am I correct? Yeah. Please move on.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, are we going to replicate the same particular website the way you did them? Exact way?
Yes, you should actually. We had the page. You should replicate the way I did it. But if you can make it better, I will actually welcome that. Maybe but one thing is this: please don't copy code. You understand? Or the main thing is for you to be able to learn. You understand? But honestly, if some of what you've seen here, if you think you can make it better, but the idea is that if you can make it better, I actually welcome that. But the concept is to, if you can make it better, it's fine. But at least it should be aligned with this. At the end of the day, we are still going to connect the backend, right? But if you can, like I say, if you can make it better, it is fine. but you should actually be, what we want to achieve with this is for you to be able to look at a design and convert that design into HTML and CSS. Right? Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you very much.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So yeah, I think we are good. So that's it now. So in the absence of no question, I think we can call it a day. I just want us to note that, okay, I promise I'm going to share all the assets with you, all the screens, then so we can start from there. Yeah, so to be honest, that is almost all you need to know as front end is concerned, HTML and CSS, though we didn't touch on JavaScript. So, but let's move on. Honestly, if you are able to actually convert all these screens with HTML and CSS, then you are good. So though we haven't covered JavaScript yet, and just to give you more context, the JavaScript we used on this page is actually minimal. Maybe I can give you an idea of what JavaScript does. The JavaScript we use on this page is minimal. So what does JavaScript do? Now you understand that HTML and CSS, you use both of them to style your screens, to design your web page. What does JavaScript do? So essentially, JavaScript is what is used to add animation to your web page. For instance, now, so if you visit some websites, when you click on a button or so, you will notice that there will be a pop-up, right? Sometimes when you click on, let's say, login, instead of taking you to another page, it is possible that immediately you click on this login, you will see a pop-up on your screen like this. You don't need to go anywhere. So something they call it animations. Like if you click on, you can even, you can say, for instance, you can use JavaScript to, when you click on this thing, on this button, you can say, okay, when I click on this guy, it should appear here. So all those kind of animations, they call it animations, is powered by JavaScript. So for instance, now this so now let's say I log in with the wrong information. Now let's say I log in with this information. So it says invalid credentials. If you notice, this message will disappear. You see that message that disappears now, it's a kind of like animation. That animation is powered by JavaScript. What JavaScript is able to do is that with JavaScript, you can easily reference a particular element on the web page. Again, you use JavaScript to easily reference a particular element on the page, which means you can write your JavaScript in such a way that you are going to reference this button, and you can tell JavaScript that this button after 5 seconds, it should disappear. This button, when I click on this button, something should happen. That is possible because you use JavaScript. First of all, I mentioned you use JavaScript for animations. Second is that you can use JavaScript. With JavaScript, you can pick any element. The same way when we are dealing with HTML and CSS. Remember, I don't want to go to the CSS. Remember, when we are dealing with CSS, we say class equals to auth content. If you now go to your CSS, you can easily reference this class here, which means when you reference this class, it is referring to this div. The same way with JavaScript, you can say that this element, when it is clicked, something should happen. So that's why we're able to say, okay, when this message is here for a particular time, when it is after 5 seconds, it should disappear. So I hope you get an idea of what JavaScript does, right?